Hello CraftDee Family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY project, we will be creating some fall themed decor using items from the Dollar Tree and scraps of wood. Now these pieces all feature a rustic black and white finish and can be decorated in so many different ways in your space. Now you can certainly customize these in any way that you prefer with your own items you already have on hand. Now as always, all of the projects I create have complete supply lists in the description box, so you can easily use it for reference as you gather your supplies. Now before we start, I have to say, hey to all of my subscribers, and if you're a new visitor to my channel today, I hope you consider subscribing as well and stick around to enjoy these crafts and the different ways that I'll show you how to style these in your space. So now, let's just jump right into the projects. Now this project is a wood and floral decor piece. Now we're going to start with one of these Halloween signs from the Dollar Tree and a white wastebasket from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to lay out my cutting mat and grab my wood sign and remove all of the tags. Now what we want to do is remove the haunted house from the frame because we'll be using the frame for this project. So I'm taking a pencil and making sure that my outline is in a perfect circle so I'll be able to cut it evenly. Now to cut this, I'm going to use a utility knife, but you can use an X-Acto knife or very sharp box cutter if you like. All you're going to do is score the edges that touch the frame 3 or 4 times and it should snap apart. Now you just want to be very careful. These blades are very sharp, but they should pop out fairly easily when they have been scored. Now after you remove the house, you want to smooth out any rough edges, and you can just do this with some sandpaper. You just want to sand them down lightly. So here's our frame all ready to work with. Now I wanted to line the inside of my frame with some mesh, and I'm going to use this white wastebasket from the Dollar Tree. Now you definitely can use some chicken wire or other wire of your choice. Now in order to prepare the wastebasket, we're going to take our wire clippers and we're going to start clipping away at the bottom of the wastebasket and remove the bottom part. And then we're going to do the same thing for that top rim. Now once you remove the top and the bottom, you want to cut up this seam. You'll notice it's a little thicker than the rest of the basket. You could use wire clippers or scissors. Now I do recommend you definitely use hand protective wear. I did get a few scratches from working with this, but definitely protect your hands because this could be very sharp. Now when it is cut, you just want to pull and shape it until it is as flat as possible. Now here's my flat piece that I have formed, and now we're ready to use it. So go ahead and grab your frame and lay it right on top. And what we're going to do is trace out that inner circle of the frame onto the wastebasket. Now once that is traced on, go ahead and cut that portion away from the screening. And then you can start cutting out your circle. Now when you cut out your circle, you want to actually cut it about 1/4 of an inch larger than your actual circle so it can overlap on the back side when you adhere it. So now we're going to go ahead and prepare and paint our frame, and I'm going to be using some white chalk paint. You just want to apply a nice good coat all over one side of the frame, making sure you get into all those cracks and crevices of the design, and once it's painted, just let it sit to completely dry. And now that it's dry, we can start adding some accents to it. Now I'm just going to do this with a black Sharpie. You can definitely use paint, but I felt like I had a little bit more control using a Sharpie to get around all those intricate details. Now once I've outlined most of those details, I am going to go back in and I'm going to add some little wear and tear or chipping around some of the edges. This just gives it more antique character, makes it look kind of old and antique. So I'm just going to go around randomly adding these marks. So here's my frame with all my marks added, and it's ready to go. So now we can flip it over and add that screening to the back. Now what you could also do is use a Dollar Tree mirror. They sell these, and this is almost the perfect size to fit inside these frames. If you pop that out and remove that cardboard backing and place this right on top, you'll notice it makes the perfect frame for one of these mirrors. Now I'm just going to prepare mine for this wire mesh. Now to adhere it, I'm going to be using my wood stick hot glue around the edge. Now I want to put about half around the circle of the wood glue first and then place the mesh right on top. Now you do want to press this into place. You can use a silicone spatula or your silicone mat to make sure it's bonded, and repeat this on the other edge as well. And here is my mesh all applied to the frame. So now what we can do is embellish our frame. So the Dollar Tree has such a beautiful assortment of fall florals this year. So I'm just going to trim one down to size and make sure it fits on the front of my frame. Now to cover up the clipped bottom, I'm going to use some Dollar Tree jute twine. I'm just going to hot glue it at the top and then wrap it all the way down the stem to the bottom to make sure you cover up any of those raw wires. Now once that's covered, you want to lay it on your frame and arrange your flowers the way you want them displayed. Now to attach this, I'm not going to hot glue it in place. All I'm going to do is tie it in place with some jute twine going through that wire mesh as shown here. Now this will enable it to be switched out throughout the seasons, and you could keep it up year round. Just run your jute twine through the stem and tie it off in the back, and now your florals are nice and secure. Now to embellish it, I have this little gingham bow, and I'm going to add that to the bottom of my arrangement. Then as a final touch, I am going to take another piece of some gingham ribbon. I'm going to loop it around, and I am going to have this added to the top of my frame. This will be used to hang it. You could also use the hang hole at the top if you like, but I thought the gingham gave it a really unique accent, so I'm just going to hot glue that ribbon into place. And here is your piece ready to display. And here it is, all complete and hanging up, and it looks super cute. Now these Halloween frames come in so many styles, and they are perfect to customize with. Then you could just add your flowers or greenery of your choice to fit the holiday or season. And they're super easy to make. Now I really love these pastel and green bundles at the Dollar Tree this year for this project. Now you could go ahead and mix and match and blend them however you like. You can add ribbon, twine, or even beads to embellish them. And this mesh screen can also be used to hold your earrings. Now don't forget, you can also use a mirror in the back as well. Now this would be super cute mounted on a vanity stand or even hanging up in a powder room. Now either way that you choose to display it, it will be a beautiful addition to your space. Just let me know what you think of this project in the comments below. Now this project is a fall centerpiece. Now we're going to start with half of a 1x4 that I had left over from a previous project, but it can be purchased from the Home Depot for about $3.48 for a full 8-foot piece. Now what I'm going to do is have the pieces cut and have 3 pieces at 14 inches and 2 pieces at 3 inches. Now you could also use 3 of the Dollar Tree crates for this project as well. So I'm going to grab up all of my cut wood pieces, and I'm going to start to assemble my box. And I'm going to grab those 3 14-inch pieces and form the bottom and the sides, and then slide those 3-inch pieces at each end to form the 2 ends. Now to bond these together, I will be using my wood stick hot glue just to temporarily hold it in place until I can screw the pieces together. You just want to apply a generous layer of that wood stick hot glue along the edge of that bottom piece and place that side piece against and hold it for about 10 seconds until it bonds, and then you want to repeat that for the other side as well. Now while the pieces are still warm, we are going to slide in those 3-inch pieces on each end. You want to add hot glue to the bottom and the sides of those 3-inch pieces and just slide it in at the end, making sure those edges line up. Now once you repeat this for the other side, you have one completed box. Now I will be drilling pilot holes to screw these all together, and I'm going to be using a 3/32 inch drill bit. Now you want to drill 1 hole in each corner on the front and the back of the box as shown here. And once you do that, we're going to use some number 6 1 1/4 inch wood screws to secure it into place. So I'm just going to hand screw that screw into one of the pilot holes, and then you want to carefully drill that screw right into place, being careful not to over tighten it. Now you want to repeat this for all 4 of your holes, just carefully screwing them into place. Now here are all of our screws into place. You'll have 4 on the front and 4 in the back. Now you can choose to cover or spackle these if you want to, but since this is a rustic project, I don't mind them showing through the paint in this project. Speaking of paint, we are ready to do that to our box, and we are going to be using some white chalk paint for our centerpiece box. Now I'm going to start by adding a generous layer on the inside. I just want to cover the bottom and the sides really well. Now once the inside is all covered as shown here, you want to do the entire outside, including the bottom of the box, and allow it to dry. Now here is your box all dry, and you're ready to move to the next step, which is adding some cute little feet as shown here. Now I picked these up from Amazon. They came in an antique finish, but I spray painted them with Crayon satin spray paint. Now I'll link in the description box where to find these feet on Amazon below. Now we're going to add one to each corner, so just take a little piece of sandpaper and just gently sand each corner just to improve the bond a little better. Now these do come with little screw holes, but I will be adding my wood stick hot glue on these to adhere them in place. This is a lightweight project, so this hot glue will definitely hold these feet without a problem. Now here are all the feet in place on our box. Now I wanted to add a little bit of distressing, so I'm going to use some of this acrylic black paint. And to add the distressing, I am going to use a craft stick. Now I've done this before in one of my projects. It's just so fun and easy to use, and I love it. You just add some of that acrylic paint to the side of the craft stick and drag that craft stick along the edges, and I think it gives the perfect distress marks all over your box. And I'm going to do this on the outside edges and also the inside edges, and here is what the finished product will look like. Now you want to allow this to completely dry. Here is your box all ready to go, and now you can add any of your fall florals. I'm going to be adding some lamb's ear. I'm also going to be using a candle holder and some assorted candles. You could use those, and also you could just add a votive holder if you like. Now put those all in the box according to how you want to arrange it, and now you can place it on display. And here is my beautiful centerpiece, you guys. I absolutely love it. Now these flowers from the Dollar Tree are so gorgeous this year, and I love how they blend with the lamb's ear in this arrangement. And these cute little feet just give it more of an upscale look too. I also added a string of wood beads too as an accent, and they look perfect. You all have to definitely let me know how would you decorate this centerpiece box in your space. Now this project is for fall decorated mason jars. Now we're going to need 4 of these small mason jars. Now you can get these at the Dollar Tree for $1 each, or buy the case a lot cheaper at Walmart. Now we're also going to start with using some adhesive pearl bead wrap as well. So I'm going to take all 4 of my mason jars. Now I've cleaned the outside of these already, and so I'm going ahead and removing the lids. And then I'm going to take my adhesive pearl wrap, and what I'm going to do is take out that sheet, and what I'm going to do is cut these into strips. Now I believe that Dollar Tree already has beaded strips, and I couldn't find those, and I already had these on hand, so I'm just going to cut the strips from this beaded sheet. Now I will be cutting out 8 strips from this. Now once all 8 strips are cut, I'm going to apply a strip at the bottom and at the top of each jar, about 1/2 of an inch from the bottom and 1/2 of an inch from the top threads. You want to remove that adhesive backing and then place that beaded strip along the bottom as straight as possible. You can definitely mark it if you need to get it absolutely straight, but I kind of eyeballed it and it turned out pretty good. But this is what it would look like when you start to add them along. Now once you repeat this for the top, this is what both strips will look like, and what you want to do is repeat this for all of your jars. And now all of our jars have that beaded trim on the top and bottom. Now what I want to do now is take it out to give it 2 coats of this satin bright white spray paint by Krylon. You can use any that you like. You just want to make sure that it's formulated for glass as shown here. Now here are my jars all nice and dry, and now we're ready to move on to the next step. Now I'm going to be taking some of this Dollar Tree jute twine, and I'm going to start wrapping it around the threaded edge of the jar. I'm just going to put several rounds in, starting by adhering one end at the bottom of the thread and just wrapping it around, overlapping the pieces, just giving it kind of a rustic look. And then once you wrap it around and all the threads are just about covered, you want to hot glue the ends in place, and you want to repeat this for all of your jars. Now this is a piece of faux galvanized metal sheeting that I made from Dollar Tree poster board and spray paint. Now I wanted metal looking tags for this project, and this method would be perfect for that. Now I will link the quick demo on how to do this in the upper right hand corner of this video, and also in the description box below. So what we want to do is flip it over to the white side and take our compass, and I want to make some circles about 2 inches wide. This will fit perfectly on the front of my jars, and I want to make 4 of those circles. Then take your scissors, and I want to cut each one of those circles out. Now that we have our first circles, we're going to grab some letters from the Dollar Tree. Now I wanted my circles to say fall, so I'm going to put fall on the center front of all of the galvanized side of my poster board pieces. Now to hang these, I will be using my jute twine, so I'm cutting a very long piece, and then I'm going to halve it and then tie a little knot at the end with a little loop as shown here. Now you want to do this 4 times. Now I did decide at the last minute I wanted to add a few beads to my strings, so each one of the 2 strings on each one of those hang pieces will get a bead. And this is what they will look like. Now you want to repeat this for all 4, and here they are all done. So now we can start adding our tags. So the tag will actually be attached with that little loop that we left at the end of our tie. So I'm just going to hot glue that in place, and there it would hang nice and even. And now all of our letters are hanging on our beaded strings, and we can start working on our mason jars. Now, I wanted to cover the center of the mason jars with this burlap ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree. You just want to cut pieces about 1 inch longer than needed, and then to apply it, we're just going to add it to the jar with hot glue. You just want to make sure you have 4 total strips ready to go. Now we are going to take one of those ribbon, and then we want to fold the end in about 1/2 inch because we want the finished edge to be folded. Now once we wrap it around, we want to make sure that that folded edge is on the outside of that connection point. Just add some hot glue and press it into place, and it just gives it a nice neat finish. You do want to make sure that your connection point is on the back of your jars. Now here are all of my jars with that burlap ribbon in place. So now that we've done that, we can start to add our hang ties. So I added the hang tie at first and just testing it out and see how it looked. Now it wasn't hanging quite like I wanted to, so what I did is tie another knot above the 2 beads that I just added. Now once I did add that knot on top and re-tied it, I loved the way it hung then, so I decided to do that for all of my strands, and this is what one of them looks like. And here are all of my jars with all of their strings attached. So now's the fun part, we can decorate. So I am using that lamb ear and pastel bundle. I love, love, love these flowers this year. So I am adding one of these bundles to each one of my jars. And this is what one of them will look like, and now we can place them on display. And here you have it, a beautiful set of decorative fall floral pieces for your space. Now, as you can see, I'm really loving this colorway and it looks really amazing on display. And I also love staggering them as well. It just gives them more visual appeal. Now, all of these projects today were so easy to make and they make great gifts as well. Now, I do hope you give them a try. I have to say, I love all the projects, but you guys have to let me know which one of these DIYs today was your favorite. Let me know in the comments below. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. If you like videos like these and don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below, or just click on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen and make sure you hit that bell to be notified when my next DIY goes live. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.